We got you. So, shall we drink?
Always.
Roxy, what do you got going on today?
I am having whiskey today because there's never a bad time to have whiskey. It's the perfect dram when you're celebrating, when you're mourning, what have you. I'm not gonna lie, I had a fucking time trying to figure out what to drink with this episode. Like, because it is so dialogue heavy, it is so rich and intense, and they didn't throw us any softballs like they do occasionally, where it's just like, hey, we're gonna drink mimosas. So I opened up my cabinet about 5 minutes ago and found in it a bottle of an American single malt whiskey called Courage and Conviction. The universe unfolds as it rightfully should sometimes. And this is a whiskey that is it's from the Virginia Distilling Company. They use malted barley, fresh spring water from the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's a combination of old world sherry casks, traditional bourbon barrels, and recoopered cuvee wine casks aged for a minimum of 3 years, which adds intensity and complexity to the spirit. But it's just kind of perfect because throughout this episode, we really see June having the courage to stand up to her abusers and face them in court and face the repercussions that can come of that. We see Emily it's thrust upon her, but she eventually has the courage to go and address one of her abusers, and someone who's responsible for worlds of misery for her. Even though it doesn't quite pan out the way that she may have hoped. We see Moira having the conviction to try to help all of these other women that have been through this intense struggle in Gilead, and we see quite a few different examples of courage being utilized. Like, I think Luke is incredibly brave in this episode to continually try to work towards having a discussion with June, and to show up at that courtroom as well was an incredible act of courage. And so that's why I'm drinking Courage and Conviction, because it's the first thing I found that actually worked as a tie-in.
Very nice.
That is impressive.
I agree.
I got lucky.
You also have a quite extensive cabinet there.
That is
Your cabinet is like my liquor store.
My cabinet is 3 wire racks in my garage, and then a cabinet underneath as well, and a 200 bottle wine fridge.
See, now, in the event of a Gilead takeover, you are going to be everybody's favorite person in the neighborhood because you can use that booze to barter for other goods.
Oh, you think that booze is going to stay in the neighborhood? Oh, no, honey. All that booze is getting loaded up into the back of the car, and I'm going to use it for bartering for gas and to get across the border.
Either way, whatever. You can use it to barter. You're going to be all set.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
What are you two drinking?
Today, I'm knocking back some beer, because that's what I do. I drink beer. I'm from New England. I talk like this. No, I don't at all, ever. Anywho. I was also really strapped for a tie-in today. I was like, I just don't know. There's so many places I could go. There's so many ways this episode made me feel. And I went to my local package store, the beer mecca of New England, and I was walking around like a fucking lost puppy. Like, I just don't know what to do. Sales girl comes along. She's like, can I help you? Because, you seem like you're having a hard time making a decision after I was in the store for like a half hour. I explained to her what I needed, and she was like, okay, well, good luck, and she walked away. And I don't fucking blame her one bit. So I went with an old standby, but an old standby that still works, although just maybe not as cleverly as I would have wanted it to. I went with a collaboration between Microphone Brewery and Collective Arts Again, The Origin of Darkness. So that is a 4-beer series. The one that I have today is it's maple syrup, bourbon barrel aged imperial stout with walnuts. This is a keeper. artwork is fantastic. It's kind of it's it's along the lines of the artwork that they have from the other cans. I believe it's the same artist. It's Cassidy Ray Marietta out of Columbus, Ohio. Cassidy Ray, you do some cool fucking work, girl. But more importantly, it is brewed and barrel aged by Collective Arts in Hamilton, Ontario, where our favorite show is filmed. It's got a decently high ABV at 9.0%, which I'm sure will have me feeling pretty fucking fine by the end of this half. And Origin of Darkness, I mean, that's exactly how I perceived Fred and Serena, like, coming back together. Like they came back to their roots. I could really see in their interaction with each other towards the end, I could see that back and forth that drew them together. So I feel like we are back to the beginning with these two. And I can't think of anything that is darker than them. Not even Roxy's soul. So I give you Origin of Darkness.
Oh,
Yum.
that's great, Ty. You
Cheers.
did really well. Your trip to the package store is me every single week. Every single week.
You're
It's
just lost
me
in there like, I don't know what to
wandering.
do.
Like, eventually I'll just see something and it'll work. I mean, hopefully I have like some kind of direction, but not always. And sometimes I get derailed. I can't find what I'm looking for. I think it'll work. All sorts of things happen. But I will tell you that every week I like wait and I almost kind of like brace myself and like stop myself from being like, well, let me tell you what I'm looking for. Because I'll talk to these people for like a half hour and they're going to be like, yeah, good luck with you. I can't help you pick something for your podcast. So like, good luck. But I have yet to bring up a podcast yet. I normally just look confused. I bring my 13-year-old in to help me pick a beer. Yeah, it's never great. But this one actually was quite easy. And I got quite lucky because I was just hoping that they would have the whiskey I was looking for. I am drinking Rabbit Hole Rye, and solely because I already did kind of had the idea of like Rabbit Hole cocktail. I'm like, I pretty much can do anything with that. Like, I'll just name it that, and I can just drink what I want. And what I always want to drink is whiskey. So I figured at least a cocktail. I didn't want to go straight Scotch or anything on the rocks, which is kind of what I was leaning towards. So I have a pretty perfect tie-in, and it's basically just my dumb luck of what I wanted to drink tonight. So I have my whiskey. And I like a whiskey sour, but I've been finding that with these recordings, I need something a little bit more watered down to last me more because I like to drink a lot. So it is club soda and lemon juice, lots and lots of lemon juice because I just love lemon juice, and beet juice. Now, I like beet juice. I love beets, and I was waiting for an opportunity to use beets in a cocktail, and tonight was the night. But I didn't really have a tie-in for beets until I went to the internet, and I found, just a little obscure, but stay with me for a minute, at spiritoftransformation.com. It is the symbolism of beetroot. And I will spare you like all of the reading, but I'll just give you why it ties in perfectly. Beetroot is good for releasing war trauma and fear of lack of being able to trust and receive once more. Then it goes into a lot, right? Then it goes into a lot of conversation about how that wartime trauma can be personal, it can be generational, how it gets passed down. It's all really interesting. You should check it out. But it gives you an affirmation at the end. And the affirmation is, I ask the light to hold me steadfast and give me the strength to release the trauma that I have been afraid to remember. I move forward confidently at a safe, comfortable pace. And come on. That's a pretty damn good tie-in, right?
Yeah, it works. I'm down with it.
So I think June needs some wartime trauma healing, and I hope she finds it soon. But until then, Rabbit Hole whiskey.
Brilliant. Which rabbit hole did you go with?
I went with the rye.
For those of you that aren't aware, Rabbit Hole is a Kentucky distillery. They specialize in a few different iterations of bourbon. They also have a fantastic rye. So I'm glad you found it. Ladies, cheers!
Salud.
Oh, and I can tell you the best part of it. My drink should be served in a circle glass with a square cube. I can't do that for this recording because I'll be clinking away. So, if you really want to get right down to the perfect episode drink, you really have to have the big cube inside a circle glass.
All right.